Welcome you all to our Genesis Web Report webinar part 5. We already covered uh, 4 parts of web reports. All of them are very crucial, very important, and I hope. Am I audible to everybody? Mr. Dipankar, you were not able to hear me. Uh, is it now available? Okay. Maybe you have some problem with your data connections or something sound. So, Dipankar, please check your system. Fine. So, I hope you all have tried creating Genesis web reports. I know some of you trying hard to create reports and creating good reports. Some of them send me few reports that they have made. I will I will check all those reports and give you my feedback, and also I will share you some of the formats, some of the sample reports in our Genesis web report folders in Google Drive today. So today our topic is report debugging and support. So this is very important for you people, and also you should pass on this concept to our client also, so that they can also uh, be in tune with us, how to debug reports, how to take support. If you want to take support from R&D, how you are going to log a ticket and what it should include, right? So Genesis Web Reports is very powerful in that, and they have and it has given us a very good features that I will share you within a minute. So basically today's topic is report debugging and support. So what we will be covering today is that, first of all, we need to for taking support, or maybe for creating a report with a good performance, right? So report is always should be tuned, and their performance should be acceptable to our client, right? So for that, you need to understand what is database aggregation. It's a feature of Genesis Web Reports. You need to know how database aggregation works, and how to take advantage of this feature in reports, right? Then how to see the report query. See, whenever you run a report, whenever you create a report internally, taking you know that for creating a report you need to create select few categories, right? And all the categories are joined with each other, and all the relevant joins are there in our server, report server. And it is and we have, and all of these things are is released by Genesis and maintained by Genesis. uh, Maybe some of the objects will be of custom in nature, some of the joins will be custom in nature. That I will talk in separate webinar, how you are going to manage your custom part, right? So I'm not talking about custom thing, but only about the system part, right? Which for every release we will update, and once you sync from repository, you will get the effect of the released version, right? So whenever you create a report, you select a few categories, and based on the joins and based on the fields that you have selected for a report, the Genesis report engine create a query dynamically, right? And now you need to see, if you want to see what queries has been generated, then you can easily check out what queries it generates, right? For because sometimes it is very important to know uh, what query report engine is parsing. Maybe we need to know that whether query is taking time or the rendering of the data is taking time, because there is two aspect when you run a report. Two things executes and by the report engine. One is a runtime query generated based on your report requirement. Then the report engine parts the query and send it to the database. Then based on that query, data has been fetched from database to application server. And if from application server, then the data rendering process starts. And whatever formats you have designed for a reports, whatever way you want to export your reports, based on that, the rendering happens in application server, and then it comes to your desktop, right, through a browser. So this is how the report engine works. So sometimes we need to understand, so we need to check out what queries is giving me the data, because maybe we need to tune that query, or maybe we need to see whether any indexes are working or not, whether the correct joins are taking or not, whether the correct tables are taking or correct views are taking or not. As you know that Ginesys reports connects on Gin view schema, right? So Gin view is a read-only schema where we have exposed many views. If you browse Gin view schema, you will see lots of views are there, right? And we have tried to give a meaningful name of the view so that you can easily check out what data is coming, right? So maybe in later on we description of that in our wiki, in our internal wiki. Maybe we will share it with you what views retrieves what data, right? What are the significance of it? So then some log files we need to check time to time. Maybe if something happens, something undesired result is coming in reports, then you might want to check out the logs. Sometimes from R&D also we require that, okay, send me the logs so that I can check what errors is coming, right? So how you are going to check the logs of reports? Then there's a mode in Ginesys reports, that is debugging mode. How to enable the debugging mode, how to take advantage of the debugging mode, what actually it does in debugging mode, right? And whenever you want to log a support ticket, you need to attach few files, okay, that I will show you how beautiful Ginesys reports has done, and how easy it is that, right? If suppose, for example, if let me give you an example, that whenever presently whenever there is some you are developing a report, right? But it is basically a custom report, some custom data is there, or some maybe you have taken some of the categories or some of the articles, or you have create some filters, okay. So based on that, the report is not coming properly. Now what R&D suggests is that please send me the data of the client so that I can simulate your problem at report, right? Sometimes we ask for data, sometimes we didn't ask, we directly connect to your client's place. You gave the connection through GRS, and we connected and check what data is coming. We will our R&D team checks with some queries, and then found whether there is problem in the data itself or there is a problem in report, right? But then also there is a problem is in client side, we didn't have the report designer, okay, the D2K report designer, and the crystal report is not always present. So what R&D will do then? So we have considered each and every aspect of it, and try to make life easier. Okay. So right now you don't have to send the full data, only the relevant data of the report you can send it. How, that I will show you. It is very, very important thing, right? Then if you want to give report requirements, new report requirements, I will show you. I already shared a template for giving report requirements. At the end of this webinar, I will share, again discuss about what I require from you, right, through that template. So let's start today with database aggregation. Okay. If you have any query, please note it down, post it uh, in chat window, and I will definitely answer your questions, right? So let's start with database aggregation. See, let me share my screen. Is it visible to everybody? Okay, fine. First of all, database aggregation. What is database aggregation? See, whenever, suppose, let me give you an example with a purchase order, right? Suppose you want to create a purchase order report, purchase order summary reports. Maybe you need vendor-wise total count of orders as on today, count of pending orders as on today, total number of quantities, and total number of values. You want a vendor-wise summary, not the PO details, right? So for that, you need to design a report in such a way that where you will use some aggregate functions and all, right? That I already shown you in our previous webinar, right? So basically, what Genesis report engine does is that based on your aggregate functions, based on certain parameters, certain design uh, aspect, Genesis Web Report Engine derives what other summary function it will use in query. Okay. So basically, what it happens is that there is two way of doing thing. Okay. First, the raw data. Suppose you have take a category. Suppose let me take an example like PO register demo. In this report, the category I have chosen is that customer, vendor, and PO header. Now, I designed this report such a way that it is coming vendor wise, PO details is coming. So PO header have PO order headers, right? So if I didn't want order wise summary, I want only vendor wise summary. Then uh, okay, let me share it once again. It is okay now, Sharendra? Am I audible to everybody? I already shared, Shailendra. Okay, Harshad, it is okay? No content on screen. But I already shared, maybe your net connection is slow. Some of the participant already it is they can hear you properly. Okay. Uh, But screen is not visible, right? Harshad? Shailendra, it is clear now on my screen. Yes, screen is not visible. In our Kolkata office, some of our participants doesn't have any problem. Harsha, anyone else having problem? Visible? No. Jyoti Prakash also said no. So Harsha, maybe you need to check your connections, right? Or maybe you need to relog in, refresh the page, or maybe you have a bandwidth issue. Harsha, please check it out. So shall I start again? Harsha, please respond. Okay, fine. Now, if I want that I am saying that if I want a vendor-wise summary, not the order part, okay, then I need to put some kind of aggregation, right? So basically, there is a feature in our Genesis web report server. In database settings, general database settings, there is a concept of aggregate and group in database. Okay, and this we by default make it true. If it is false, please note it down. Maybe some client can make it false, or someone if that is false, then what happens is that Genesis web report engine will not put any aggregate function in the query. Okay, it will fetch all the records of from all the categories and creating a joins for all the categories and fetching all the records, all the detailed records, and then as per your format, it will render the data at application server level. Okay, suppose it fetches lakhs of records, but it will show only 5. So that summarization will happen at application server end. So it basically delays the performance. It choking the performance. So Genesis web report engine have some intelligence built in so that it can evaluate the report design aspect, the queries, the internal queries, and based on that, it adds some group function in it. So basically, database aggregation happens at database end. So previously, if this property is set to false, then database aggregation will not happen. It will fetch all the 1 lakh record and show it only the 10 records. But if database aggregation is yes, and based on certain criteria in your web design, your report format, it will add few group functions in the query itself and fetch only the 10 records from the database. So it adds tremendous boost to your performance of a report. Okay. So this is very important aspect, and for that, whether your query is taking the help of aggregate functions or not, you need to check the query. So for checking the query, what you have to do is that, say for example, this PO register, if I run a report, it is showing like this, right? Now, if I want to check whether the query is taking the help of database aggregation or not, so let me check what query this report is parsing in background. Okay, to check that, what you have to do is that there is a parameter called execute SQL. So you have to put this parameter into any cell. Okay. Suppose I am putting this in my page header. You can put it in anywhere, any section, right? At the rate executing SQL at the rate. So every parameter has to be braced with at the rate. So if you just write this at the rate executing SQL at the rate in any part of your report, any cell, please check that whether that cell should have enough space to show the entire query. Okay. So if I run this query, if I run this report, let's see what happens. See, a query is coming at the top, and this is the query is parsed when this report is executing. Let's check this query. Okay. Let's select this query. And check it in Toad. So this is the query. It is running and it is taking the categories LV customer supplier and joining with LV PO header, and it is taking the object from Ginesys Gin view, right? So this is the query it is parsing. See, there is no group by clause attached to it, and there is no group functions attached in this SQL. But we have in our server, the database aggregation is marked as true. See, for where database settings, this aggregate and group in database is set as true. Then also the query is not taking grouping or taking advantage of the database aggregation. Now you need to check what reports you have designed so far, right? Here in categories, you have chose PO header and vendor customer vendor. And PO header is the most granular level. And for that, you have select a detail part. You have add a detail section where you want order number, order date, and all the order wise information. So basically, to bring the order information, the query cannot use any group functions because it is already grouped in database. It is already the category that you have chose for this report is already summarized one. So extra summarization is not required actually because you have selected a detail section. So any report which have a detail section, it will not use the summarized database level aggregation. That you need to keep in mind. Let me tell you once again, if any report has detail section in it, that means the most granular data it will show. Detail means it will show the most granular level data. For example, if I choose PO item, then the item level granular information will show in detail section. So whenever a report has a detail section, it will not take advantage of database aggregation. Okay, because it seems that you need that most granular level information. Then why Ginesys web report will add up or add group functions in a query? Okay, but if you don't use that, but if you don't use this detail part, for example, if I suppress this row, okay, let me see what happens is that now see, I just suppress the detail part. The detail is not coming. Only the vendor wise summary is showing. Now see what query it writes. Okay. See, now Ginesys report intelligently add the sum function. So now it knows that you don't want the detail part because you have make it hidden, make it suppressed. So in report, so based on the designer format of the report, it identifies that you need a grouping, you need the summary of the report. That's why it uses the sum function, net amount sum function, and it fetches the aggregated data from the database. So previously it is not using any group functions. It is not using the database aggregation, even if it is true in your configuration, because in report format, your detail section is shown. So whenever you have shown the detail section means you need the most granular level data. That's why it doesn't use the database aggregation. But when you make it suppressed, then database aggregation happens and it uses the group functions. So this is very important aspect of designing a report, whether you need a detail or not. If you need detail, then obviously be prepared for a performance hiccup. If you don't want detail, then only the group database aggregation will happen. And there are other aspects also. If you make any conditional aggregation, right? Suppose if you see in here, I have just aggregate a column, fine. But if I need to do like this, if vendor is this, then aggregate this. If I want any conditional aggregation, then again the database aggregation will not happen. So it will work only the simple aggregation of a column, right? If report doesn't have the detail section and doesn't have any complex aggregation function, then only Ginesys report engine will use the database aggregation concept. Okay. So this is a very important aspect of it. Now, this execute SQL parameter is very, very easy. You can use it in any report to check out the query. Now let me tell you how you are going to check the log. Okay, what logs is important for report execution. Okay, so now I just now run this report. Okay, it is showing here the same query. The query is shown here, right? And the data. Okay. Now see, if I want to see if there is some error in the report, from where I will get the actual error code or what errors is happening, how you are going to know, right? For that, you need to go to your report installation folder. Suppose here I have a Genesis installation. Under that, I have a Ginesys report folder. Under that, there is a folder called report UI. And in report UI, there is a logs folder. Just enter the logs folder, you will get a report app. Just note down the name, report app file. And this file has all the logs pertaining to any reports that you have run, whether it comes with error or not. All the report executions are logged in this file. Say for example, this is a log. Here also you can check that the same SQL statement is coming here also. From here also you can check whether the group by function is using or not. If the report is taking effect of the group functions database aggregation concept or not. Okay. From here also you can check. Even you can also check how much time it takes to fetch the record and how many records it fetched. See, SQL statement rows returned 6. That means previously the same query, when my details are shown, it is fetching 28 records. But now I suppress the detail part. Now it is fetching 6 records because the database aggregation happens. The query is now grouped by, and it uses the grouping functions. So the same output, the same report, based on your format, based on the format that you have chosen, it uses the grouping function, database aggregation function, and it is fetching less amount of data from the database. Okay, so here you can see whether there is any delay in execution, report query level execution, that you can check. This is the seconds, milliseconds. It is showing whether if in a long running query you will see that it is coming that query execution time is taking 9 minutes, 10 minutes, but rendering time it's taking only few seconds. So from here you can see that what actually goes wrong in a report. If the report is very slow, then what goes wrong? Whether the query is taking the advantage of database aggregation or not, whether the database fetching, the query fetching time is slow or the rendering time is slow, that you can easily evaluate through this log. So this is very important. This is the first level checking for any report performance. I would recommend, please check your logs. Please check the query, whether it is taking the effect of database aggregation or not. If not, then why it is not taking the effect. Please note it down. See whether detail section is there or not. Okay, whether is there any complex aggregation or not. So try to remove that complex aggregation from the report and run the report. Okay, and if you didn't find anything or didn't find that with the report, the requirement is that you need to take you need to add the detail section, and you need to show the detail section, and then also you want the performance also good. Then we have to think in a different way. We need to think whether we will do the aggregation at database level through our views. Okay, we maybe we will we will create some alternate views where we will put the aggregation in the view itself. Whether then the report, the data source in totality will return much lesser rows. Okay, so that we have to think in later on, and obviously you will not firstly you cannot judge that. So my recommendation would be, if any reports is going slow or you're not giving the perfect result or not giving you the desired result, then please check the query output and also check the execution time. Where is the problem? Whether the data is coming late, taking time, or the rendering is taking time. Okay, through logs you can easily check that. So this is about the logs. There are many you will find many logs, but it is not relevant to us. Only this log is very relevant to us. Okay, this report add. Next part is the debug mode. There is another concept called debug mode is there. Debug mode is basically you can configure this debug mode through your server. Okay, report server. In report server, let me check whether everything is okay or not. Okay. In report server, in other settings, general other settings, there is a property called enable debugging. By default, it is false, because in debug mode, all the report execution will be slow, because for each and every execution, Ginesys web reports will accumulate all the statistical informations of the application servers, about the data and all. So for that, every execution of report takes time. So please ensure whenever you make this debug mode enabled, then please ensure that it should be a downtime for report server. Otherwise, if many users is connecting or taking data, seeing the reports, then all the report execution will be slow till you make it false. Till the time you make it true, all the report execution will automatically decrease. Okay, so please ensure that. So right now it is false. I want to make it true. Okay, make it true and apply. And come to home. Now see at the right bottom end, it is showing that your report engine is now running on debug mode. enable debugging has been set to true in the admin console. Debugging should not be enabled in production environment. Okay. So basically the debug mode is now running on. So whoever is now logged into home, they will get this red red note at the bottom right of your home screen. That will ensure whether your report is running on debug mode or not. Okay. Now, if it is running in debug mode, then what will happen? What we will do is that in debug mode, you just run a report. You don't have to do anything. You just run a report. Suppose you design a report, but it is not giving you the actual result. Okay, maybe the performance is slow, but maybe the format is something that you cannot do it. Okay, you need help from R&D, right? So what you will do, you enable the debug mode, just run the report, execute the report. Report is now executing. Okay, fine, executed. Now go to the report folder, your report installation folder, Ginesys reports, report UI. Then you will see there is a folder called debug. Okay, just open this debug folder. You will see some files will be there in the name of the report. I run the report PO registered demo right now in debug mode. Debug mode run means for this report, system will automatically capture few informations. What are the informations? The data which has been fetched from database is now stored in an XML file. Okay, PO registered demo _ data. It is now all the relevant data which is coming from database after fetching the query. All the data is now stored in demo.data, demo _ data file. The configuration of the file at the time of running the report, what are the configuration, what are the system configurations is there? It is now in this XML file, PO registered demo _ config file. And the actual report file, that is the WR file, it has been extracted from the database where it is stored and keep it in folder. So what you will do, you just copy these three files, PO registered demo.wr, PO registered demo _ config, and PO registered demo _ data. You just copy these three files, attach it in Kayako ticket or mail it to me. What I will do, I can simulate your entire environment along with your data in my demo setup here in my R&D. So this is an excellent concept. For this, you didn't have to send the entire data of a client. You just need to run a report in debug mode. Just send these three files, attach it in Kayako ticket and send it to me. Send to support. What I will do, I will open the ticket, I will download this three file, I will set up, there is a setup in my in R&D where I can simulate your entire environment with your live data. Okay. So this is an excellent thing. Please note it down. For any kind of report problem, report issue, you need to fix, you need to attach these three files in your Kayako ticket. Please keep this in mind. Without this, I cannot simulate your environment and I cannot do correction in your report, right? This is very important. This has another aspect of doing a report. That is, for example, there is a report that you need to design, but you don't have any time to make that report because that report is very complex in nature. You don't know how to build, what are the sections you need to add, you don't know that. Okay. For that, what you will do is that make an advanced report, take all the available categories and take all the fields that is there in the report and run it in debug mode. So it will generate these three files along with the data and send it to me. I will simulate your environment here in my R&D and I can easily create a report based on client's data itself in my R&D. Okay, so here I will make all the required formatting. I will generate a new report based on your data and send it to you. So this is a very, very important aspect of support. There is a very, very important aspect of debugging a report and sending the entire data relevant to that report through an XML file. That is excellent concept. So right now I want to make some pause. So if you have any query, then please tell me. Otherwise, I will move on to some different part. So if you have any query, please tell me. Isn't it a good thing? Please raise your hand. There is only one hand raised, no other. That means it is not clear to many participants, maybe. I don't know whether I am able to demonstrate it properly or not. Okay, Dipankar is telling yes. Okay, fine. Any other? Okay, Rohit, fine. Now demo, okay. Not able to get you, Roshan. So, Jyoti Prakash, Kanagadamu, Sutirtha, Shanu, is it clear to everybody? Ashok, I don't know. Harshad is not there, not here right now. Maybe he has disconnected himself. He is not. Fine. So maybe they will check it, the recorded version. Okay, fine. So today I talk about the debugging aspect, how you will send the data, how you will debug a report based on log file, based on query, how the database aggregation happens, what are the criteria for taking advantage of database aggregation, and also how you will send a Kayako ticket, what are the files that you need to attach to a ticket, so that I can simulate your environment at R&D. So this is basically the total whereabouts of report debugging and support. So now if you want report, you want R&D to design a report for you, then please take the data out from the client database through a debug mode file and send it to me. Okay, this is very important aspect of report designing. So take all the available fields, take all the relevant fields in your for a report that you want to make, and query the output. You don't need to think about the design, whatever it, make a tabular kind of report. Just run the debug mode, run it in debug mode and send it to me. Send the 3 files to me. That's it. Okay, I will get all the data in my R&D. Now let me show you how you will put your report requirements. I already sent you some templates. Let me once again describe that to all of you. I will show you how some of our person send me the requirement. Say for example, there is a report called stock aging report sent by Jati Prakash. See, this is the template that I shared to all of you. First page is profile. For that, you have to tell me what are the objectives of this report, target audience, the business area. If this report is already prepared in Discover, then you have to tell me what business area or business folder it takes to create this report. Any filters is there or not, conditions, calculations. If any column has calculations, then please provide that. Then the format of the report, maybe you can take the Excel output of the Discoverer sheet and paste it over here. And also the screenshot of the Discoverer report or any other report. So this will give me a preview how you want your data to be shown in my report, Ginesys web reports. It will give a brief demonstration of your report format. So this is the thing. This is the template that you need to create for giving request to R&D. One more thing I want to add is that please in your format don't forget to tell me what columns it takes to create this report. What are the cube columns? What are the Discoverer folder fields? Okay, what fields it takes to create this report. This is whether it is a custom field or not. If there is custom field, say for Days Lab, it is a custom field, custom calculations, then you need to provide that calculation here. Okay. So this is very important for me to understand the report properly. If we didn't understand, we cannot deliver a report that you want actually. If we have any doubt, I will definitely call you. Our team will call you up and take the clarifications. I already take clarifications from Amit and Jyoti Prakash and Shailendra. So I hope if you need any report to be created from R&D, then please submit your report requirement in this format only. Okay. So this is very important. So I hope it is clear now how you can debug, how to check the queries and all the support things and also the report requirement part. So thank you very much for today's session. If you have any query, then please put it down. I will answer it immediately. Or if you don't have any query, then fine, I will close today's session. Okay, no questions so far. Fine, thank you very much. Thank you for bearing us. We have little glitches today, so we will ensure that you will not get any glitches in our next webinar. So thank you very much. You will get the links. One more thing, you will get all the links of all the webinars from our system team. They will upload it to YouTube in a private channel, and you will get all the links there. Okay, so just wait for today's. Give me today's time. Our system team will upload all the videos in YouTube and share the link to you. Okay, so thank you so much.